When it arrived on American shores back on September 26, 1996, the Nintendo 64 graced us with some of the most groundbreaking games of that generation. To this day, it still remains my favorite video game home console, and it has left me with memories, fantasies, joy, excitement, and smiles since I got mine back in December 1996. I'm not the N64 kid, and he certainly isn't underselling that excitement. It hurts me to have only 20 games on here, but it'll kill me to do any more than that. And no, these aren't the only ones I have. Some popular choices might not show up here, and the best reason for that is because I spent more years with the others. Time to let the biased nostalgia flow out! Let's start it off!
20th place.
Oh right, a formality. It's one entry per franchise, but spin-offs are okay. So take a guess how many times the plumber is going to show up. Tight controls, high-energy music, and the debut of Waluigi with Mewtwo eyes that... Wait, did he ever use those again? As far as the regular tennis matches go, it's exactly what you think it is. And yet, this is all it really needed to have back in those days! Thank you. And we still got things like Hit Through the Rings, Return the Piranha Plant shots, and item matches! Okay, so the first two were nice distractions that lasted a few tries, but man... Item matches is really disorienting. But if you're interested in more of a challenge, well, normal is easy, hard is hard, and intense leaves no room for error. I used to be really good at this game. Guess I shouldn't have just expected to contain my skills for all these years. And after all these years, I can't believe I forgot just how lively they were. Some real personality was finally put into them. Expressive, animated, the Mushroom Kingdom was finally given some character at long last. Yeah, Mario got some a bit before, but everyone is going off here, and I love it for finally giving life to these beloved characters. Yes, Mario Golf also had animations, but nothing like these.
19th place.
So here's a brief synopsis of how long I've been working on this list. I tried to get half of it done for the system's 20th anniversary. I failed, and I locked it up in my mind until I couldn't keep it bottled up anymore. Also, writer's block. Once I finally started putting it together, it was like smooth sailing. And then my stupid brain starts double guessing myself, switches up the placements, and replaced an entry that was already finished with the editing. That felt like I hit myself. Sorry to knock you off the list like this, Battle Tanks, but you're still my favorite video game commercial. So who took the spot? Another franchise that hasn't seen the light of day since that same generation.
Let's get it on!
I know what you're thinking. It's tail time.
The N64 was home to plenty of 3D platformers, but this one shared rooms with the PS1 and PC as well. And even though it had less features like cut voice lines, fewer levels, had to use a memory card or a password system, and I'm using the downloaded PS1 game on my PS3 for better footage, I still enjoyed playing it, mainly because I played the N64 version first and could use the analog stick to move around instead of the D-pad on the PlayStation controllers. Could have done without that lousy underwater level they added that no one asked for. It used the Mario 64 idea of giving you clues as to where you needed to go or what you needed to do. It dropped you into levels that made you say, "Cool, it's some Looney Tunes knockoffs!" Why does everyone want my blood? The bad guy can't be my father! My mother was a saint! It could have had a better camera, as well as not using a memory card to save the game, but what other platformer got away with so many references? If you said Conquer, then you obviously didn't play this game.
So, this is where they decided to change Coke.
Open the blast doors! Open the blast doors!
In a land before time, when Saturday Night Live was funny. You're despicable!
You may not have been the greatest, but I'll always be happy to spend time with you.
The clock says party time!
You guys think Scott will ever host a real one? I doubt I'd be invited anyway.
18th place.
If you haven't played any of your older games in a while, then chances are they may not look as you remember them. textures can be muddy or lack detail, the frame rate can make us sick, and let's face it, games today have made us so spoiled.
Back in my day, we didn't have no fancy health restoring cell-generated thingies.
Those days sucked. But the challenges did make us better at games. Now let's see how many of you paid attention to the keywords: textures, frame rate, and being spoiled. I mean challenges. Those three terms can relate to F-Zero. One of the major complaints I've heard for F-ZeroX is the lack of detail in the game. I'm sorry, but how can you pay attention when the race is going at eye-bleeding miles per hour? Granted, the original version looks like this, but it can still run at 60 frames per second. And now that we've seen the original, let's go back to the updated model. And so what if a lot of the racers look like updated Star Fox Super Nintendo polygons? There's 30 of them going at the same time! I'll cut them some slack for running a lot at a smooth pace. Now for that last detail, challenge! I'm pretty sure you know the deal. F-Zero and challenge go together like Nintendo and ignoring F-Zero.
Oh, that was so bad. Let me try that again.
Like modern Lucasfilm and bad writing. Yes! Nailed it! Master difficulty makes no sense to me. You can be perfect, make every turn, boost until you're drained of life, hit every dash, and still only get around 14th place. What am I doing wrong? I'll be lucky if I can even make it to the finish line. Wait, maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Why beat your rival to the finish line when you can just take them out instead?
17th place.
I find it rather hard to swallow that Nintendo launched the N64 in North America with only 2 games. One of them was all you really needed. This was just a nice bonus. If I had to summarize the game in one word, it would be carefree. Forget about the missions and objectives. Forget about landing with grace. Just the ability to be one with the sky is more than enough for me. Take pictures. Use a hover pack. Get shot out of a cannon. There are moments where I can feel at ease and enjoy the view from above. Going back to this game, I can't imagine how I got some of those perfect scores. Especially since landing can be as fun as tap dancing on a bed of spikes, covered in acid and on fire. Still, it has its charm. Kind of feels like a big open world to explore, and there are little things here and there to make you enjoy your situation and surroundings. It's simple while complex, relaxing and stressful at the same time. No idea how they managed to pull that. Oh jeez, I wasn't watching my front! There goes my good vibes.
16th place.
Home to the worst killjoy I have ever come across in video games. Force Gemini was as much fun to play as it was frustrating to get the hang of. My personal space! There was just something about its take on the sci-fi scene. Rich-looking worlds, sound effects, and a healthy stash of weapons, tri-rockets, to play around with that made it captivating. Nah, it's really about the gore. Look at those antheads fly, and their innards splatter everywhere. Dare you to catch them on your tongue. You're even encouraged to pick up the craniums of your fallen foes. That's sick! But when I'm told I have to find all these little gremlin koala lookalikes in one go for all the areas without them dying as a half requirement to beat the game, heads will roll! To this day, I still haven't beaten the game. Isn't it wrong to put a game on the... Oh, hold on, I'm gonna change that voice.
Isn't it wrong to put a game on the list if you haven't finished it?
You know, I stopped caring about that for countdowns. It's the kind of game that I keep saying in the back of my head, I'll finish it one day. And another voice is saying, no you won't. And another voice is saying, think I'll get Subway for dinner. And there's about 100 more in there, but they drown each other out. Going back and playing this again today, I can appreciate just how advanced it felt. Such as how you can see your own breath in the rain, or shooting a grenade when it's still in their hand, or... Did I see that wrong? Did the enemy actually throw away their weapon and put their hands up like they wanted to surrender? That is adorable! There's no mercy in this game! She keeps getting nerfed anyway. Years later, and I'm still finding new stuff to like about this title, and the odd little things that hold my attention.
15th place.
I think only the older generation will understand this feeling. You tried a game when it was new. You liked it, but you didn't have enough money to actually buy it. Yet, you never truly forgot about it. You get older, you have some money, and you decide, you know what? Forget eating today. I'm gonna buy that game. For me, I had plenty of them, but at least the 4 I bought were Jet Force Gemini, Gex, Gex64, and last but not least, I want to get the one big issue with the game out of the way right now so I can indulge myself on the rest of this delicious treat. It's low on content. Some more levels and modes would have been nice, but I can still enjoy this. It's got multiplayer after all. As I've said before in the winterish list, it's basically Mario Kart on snowboards. You have an attack weapon and an item that you can hold on to at the same time. The most painful one to get hit by is the parachute over a fall.
This is pure agony every second I'm up here. Someone please put me out of my misery. Why couldn't you just finish me off?
The 2 I feel are the most effective is the invisibility for evading attacks and... Are those frying pans? Well, they flatten everyone who doesn't have the invincibility activated, so hooray for making everyone else suffer!
That sounded really bad, even in context.
How you pick up these items is another important element. By collecting coins or doing tricks, you can crash into the shops for them. I think you know what I want to compare this to, and any chance I get to make these look stupid, I'll take it. Just saying, a game that came out over a decade ago used coins in a more effective manner than this. No cash, no stash. Oh, and it's only an item if you're really low on them, and it gives you quite a hefty wallet by taking them from everyone else. There are some people that still try to defend these, I can't believe it. And that soundtrack? Well, who am I to argue with that definition? I'd love to play some for you guys, but we could be here all day, so just take my word for it. It's really good.
14th place.
Don't get me wrong here, Mario Party 2 is fantastic in its own rights. Great board maps with costumes and a strong lineup of minigame madness. The one with 3 at the end lets you hold more items, has a plethora of wonderful minigames to play from, and you can even prank call Bowser,
Which is not a good idea on any level.
You could easily put both of them on here, but there's one little element that made deciding a bit easier for me. Dual maps! It has a little taste of strategy and how you want to proceed on the board and the helpers you want on your team. Just make sure you're good at winning, cause these guys will charge you every turn. No matter how much of a jerk your friend can be and vice versa, there's no one I'd like to see fail more than that Shy Guy fella.
Oh gee, what a surprise, he landed on a 7.
I wonder if I can... Oh, who didn't see that coming? But when SPO Thief had his turn, I wanted him to win and get revenge. I wanted Shy Guy to lose to his own game. And yes! He landed on a 7! He lost, and I'm screwed! Yeah! You know you have a good friendship when you're playing Mario Party and can still cheer for your friend. I don't think anyone will ever be able to say that again about this series. What do you mean I still won? This game cheats so badly.
13th place.
I'm not gonna hear the end of this. It's probably wrong of me to put such a beloved classic this low, and I'm kinda slapping myself as well. Just know that it was painful to go through with it. One way or another, you would get your money's worth. There's a single player mode, but unless you really got into it, you used it as practice for the legendary multiplayer mode. You ever wanted to get your friends over right away? All you had to do was say GoldenEye over the phone, and boom! They were at your front door. It was like a code, and it meant, let's spend hours upon hours playing this game. The solo campaign was nice, I guess, never really got that far in my file. I got further in Perfect Dark, but it wasn't the party all-night game like GoldenEye was for me. This was the reason your N64 never collected dust. The way I like to play it was one-hit kill. Winner chooses the weapons, and if you pick Odd Job, everyone gets to punch you in the shoulder. I'm sure everyone has their own experience to share, so please, share them in the comments. I might want to try them for myself one day.
12th place.
Do you remember what everyone kept yammering on about during this generation?
3D!
Everything had to be in
3D!
anything that used
2D.
was a relic. Anybody else glad those days are over? But you know what one of those things that everyone wanted in 3D was? Metroid?
Metroid?
Was it Metroid? I don't even know why I asked that. It was Pokemon! Even if we were doing the same thing in
2D.
and it took even longer for the turns to play out, we loved it because 3D! But a more accurate answer was because the 3D polygons gave them more depth, detail, and life than the static Game Boy sprites we've had before. Yeah, there was Snap, but the replay feels shallow to me, and I don't have Stadium 1, but I assume most of it was here. Stadium battles, gym leaders, mini-games. Those mini-games could happily waste my time. Extras and bonuses, and playing your Game Boy games on the big screen. Plus, meeting certain conditions lets you play them even faster. It stings a little to think that we're never gonna get another Stadium game. Back then, the big appeal was bringing your Pokemon to the big screen, and they didn't look like this. With generations like Sword and Shield, that appeal doesn't exist for obvious reasons. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't try to bring back the extra stuff like minigames, more challenging battles, and the one mode in particular that I would love to see come back the most, the level 5 tourneys. Oh come on, don't tell me there isn't a Pokemon in its first stage you like more than its final form. They could have added those features to the Sword and Shield DLC, and I would have been happy to throw away $30 like that. But you know, there's still hope for that in the second DLC pass. Just let me have that thought a little longer, please.
11th place.
Continuing on with that thought about
2D.
in this generation, well, guess who else got an upgraded dimension? That'll do. Whatever you knew about the Blue Bomber, well, chuck it into the not gonna help pile, and you might be able to enjoy this strangely out of place yet enjoyable universe. You're no longer a super fighting robot, you're a digger! Basically a treasure hunter. Give your Mega Man the power-up and abilities you like to tear things apart with, and you can even upgrade them! The controls can definitely take some getting used to, and platforming seems almost non-existent. It basically separates itself from everything we know about the Blue Bomber. What was even the point of calling him Mega Man? How can Dr. Wily be nice and lend me his sub without planting a bomb in it? I swear the only things it has in relation is the Mega Buster, Roll, and the Energy Tank. Well, I have to give them points for trying something new. Even though the title was Mega Man 64, but it really goes by Legends or Dash, I knew it wasn't the 64th entry of the series, but I couldn't help but feel out of place and wondering what the heck was going on. It was better to just go along for the ride and enjoy the zany cast of characters, set pieces and moments, large satisfying boss fights, an aim system that works, and a number of weapons to play around with, even if you have to go to your room to put one away before you can use another. Though there's one thing that confused me, and no, it's not what this guy's blabbering on about. It was the lack of music in the underground places, except this one. You were called Rockman for a reason. You couldn't even keep that. I mean, it's not going to stop me from starting another file, but I just wanted to bring that up. Actually, the game has really been growing on me, exploring and discovering items that give me new power boosts and weapons. Heck, I just barely promoted this to 11th place in the final hour, and I could have easily promoted it to 10th, but I just don't have the strength to redo another entry. So just keep in mind that 11th and 10th could easily be switched. What's 10th place? Sadly, that's for part 2. This part took more out of me than it should have, so it's going to take a while before I'm able to continue this list. Until that day comes, later everyone!